It all began on an ordinary day aboard the Deep Space Observation Station. The crew was performing their usual routine checks, scanning the vast darkness for anything unusual. For years, their work had been calm, mostly recording distant star activity, occasional rogue asteroids, or the movement of ships passing through the sector. Nothing extraordinary had ever happened. That was, until the day their scanners picked up something they could not immediately explain. At first, it appeared as a faint blip far beyond the usual patrol routes. The system read it as an unknown object, something solid, metallic, and moving slowly through the void. Initially, the team assumed it was probably just a derelict vessel, an old ship long forgotten by its owners, drifting silently in the emptiness. They had seen many of these over the years. Some were centuries old, falling apart, but still detectable by their heat signatures. Others had been abandoned during conflicts long past, left as ghostly reminders of forgotten battles. But as the scans continued, the readings grew stranger. The object's energy signature was unusual. It emitted a faint, controlled pulse of power, unlike anything the station had catalogued. It was active, not broken, not abandoned, but moving purposefully. The sensors picked up the shape more clearly, and the crew's unease began to grow. The outline of the object was not like any known design. Its structure was sharp, angular, and symmetrical in a way that seemed intentional, calculated. It wasn't just a ship, it was a warship. The observation team sat in silence, staring at the monitor. None of them had seen anything like this before. Deep in space, you expected anomalies, strange asteroids, or wandering debris, but a fully equipped, functioning warship appearing without warning was something completely different. The lead technician adjusted the magnification, enhancing the details. The hull, the armor plating, the faint glow from hidden thrusters. It all became clearer. Every element of the ship spoke of advanced engineering, efficiency, and readiness for conflict. Questions began buzzing in the minds of the crew. Who could have built such a vessel? What was it doing here, in this remote sector? Why had it not been reported before? The tension in the room increased with every passing second. They had a front-row view of something incredible, something that challenged everything they thought they knew about space activity beyond their sector. The station commander, an experienced officer who had faced crises before, leaned over the console. His brow furrowed as he examined the readings. "Run all cross-references," he said. "Check every known ship registry, from Earth prototypes to the most obscure alien designs. Anything, I want a match." Hours passed as the crew worked tirelessly, cross-checking databases, sending queries to other stations, and analyzing every detail of the ship. Nothing matched. No alien race claimed it. No known human record showed a ship like this had ever been built or launched. The more they studied it, the more impossible it seemed. And yet, all signs pointed to one conclusion. The ship was human-made. The realization hit the room like a wave. A fully equipped human warship, appearing here without notice, in a place no one expected. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. How could this be? Humanity had not announced any new fleet developments. This had to be a secret project, a prototype never meant to be seen. But then the question became more pressing. If it was human, why? Was it here, far from known human-controlled space, completely unannounced? The suspense was almost unbearable. For the first time in years, the calm routine of the observation station was replaced by a sense of urgency. Every member of the team knew that they were witnessing something unprecedented. The object in space was no longer just a curiosity. It was a mystery that demanded answers. The crew continued to monitor the warship as it moved slowly through the void. It was not aggressive. It didn't fire weapons or send signals. It drifted in a calculated manner, maintaining a steady course. Yet, despite its silence, there was a sense of quiet authority emanating from the vessel. It was ready, prepared, waiting for something. Though no one knew what, even the sensors picked up subtle indications of internal activity. Power was flowing through its systems. Energy readings suggested life support was active. Systems were online. Maintenance routines were running. It was alive in a mechanical sense, fully operational, and fully armed. The fact that it had not contacted anyone only added to the tension. A ship of this magnitude, fully equipped and human, should have been impossible to hide in such open space. Yet here it was, moving silently and deliberately dot by mid-cycle. The station's science officer made a discovery that sent a chill through the room. Small signatures along the hall indicated human design, language control panels maintenance. Access points and safety mechanisms that were unmistakably modeled after Earth standards. Whoever built this ship had followed protocols that matched old human military blueprints. Some of the designs were long thought lost, retired decades ago. And yet here they were, alive and functional on this mysterious vessel. The team began speculating wildly. Some thought it was a secret Earth project, a prototype sent on a long-term mission, perhaps even decades ago, lost to time and finally resurfacing. Others worried it could be a rogue operation, built without official approval, moving through space with its own agenda. Every theory seemed plausible, yet none could explain the full picture. Communication attempts began. The station sent standard hails, coded messages, and even attempts in multiple languages used by known human factions. All responses were met with silence. The ship did not reply, did not acknowledge the attempts, and continued drifting through space as if ignoring the entire universe. Its silence was deafening, and it created an almost eerie atmosphere on the observation station. Some crew members began to feel a strange sense of unease. The ship was massive, powerful, and fully equipped. It could easily destroy the station if it chose to. Yet it did nothing. Its calm presence was unsettling. The commander tried to maintain control of the situation, reminding the team to stay focused, but he too could not hide the tension in his voice. Something about this warship was beyond anything they had encountered. Over the next several hours, the observation team carefully analyzed every movement, every energy pulse. They tried to predict its trajectory, hoping to understand its purpose. Every calculation suggested was following a deliberate path, though the logic behind it remained unclear. The mystery of the ship, combined with its human origin, created a mix of awe, fear, and curiosity among the crew. Finally, the commander made a decision. "We keep watching," he said firmly. "We do not approach. We do not provoke. But we document everything. Every system reading, every movement, every energy fluctuation. We need to understand what we're looking at before we do anything else." The crew nodded, knowing the gravity of the situation. They were no longer just observers. They were witnesses to something extraordinary, something that could change their understanding of humanity's presence in space. The warship was not just a vessel. It was a symbol of secrets, power, and human ingenuity hidden from the rest of the galaxy. As night fell on the observation station, the warship drifted silently through the void, illuminated only by distant starlight. The crew remained vigilant, their eyes glued to the monitors, hearts racing with anticipation. No one spoke much, but everyone felt the same mixture of fear and excitement. They had discovered a piece of human history in the most unexpected place, and it was far from ordinary. No one on the station could predict what would happen next. Would the ship remain silent? Would it finally reveal its purpose? Or was it simply drifting, waiting for something they could not yet understand? The answers were far away, locked inside the hull of a fully armed human warship, drifting silently through the emptiness of space, waiting for its story to unfold. And so the first day passed, quiet but tense. As the crew of the observation station stared into the darkness, knowing that the universe had just given them a mystery unlike anything they had ever seen, and that this mystery was human. The discovery of the warship continued to weigh heavily on the observation station. After the initial shock of its presence, the team began to study it more carefully. The closer they looked, the more they realized this was no ordinary vessel. It was not just a ship built for travel. It was built for war. Every detail suggested design decisions made with one goal in mind: to fight and survive in the most dangerous situations. The first thing that caught their attention was the hull. The outer armor was thick and layered, clearly reinforced to withstand significant impact. It was angular, with surfaces that seemed designed to deflect energy blasts, and even the placement of small weapon ports followed a pattern that made tactical sense. The warship was built to protect itself from attacks coming from any angle. Yet, at the same time, it showed the precision of human engineering. Everything had a purpose, and nothing was wasted. As the crew examined the ship through enhanced sensors, they discovered the thrusters. Unlike ordinary vessels, these were positioned to allow quick maneuvers in all directions, giving the warship an almost impossible ability to dodge attacks. But what fascinated the crew most was the internal layout revealed by scans. There were compartments for weapons, storage, engineering, and crew stations, all arranged in a manner consistent with Earth military architecture. Even though the ship had no visible crew, the design spoke clearly. This was made for humans to operate efficiently. Even under extreme pressure, the crew began cross-referencing the hull patterns, weapon designs, and system layouts against historical Earth military designs. Some of the features were familiar, pulled from old blueprints long thought abandoned. Others were completely new, suggesting a prototype that had never been officially documented. It was almost like stepping into a time capsule, a combination of old human military knowledge and new, secret innovations. One of the science officers leaned over the console, her finger tracing the lines of the ship on the monitor. "Look at this," she said. "These patterns, these armor plates, they match designs that were retired decades ago. But they're updated, reinforced, and optimized. Whoever built this knew exactly what they were doing. This is advanced, but also very familiar to us." The realization hit them all at once. This was a human ship, no doubt about it. And it was not just human. It was a ship that carried the legacy of decades of military design, combined with secret knowledge no one outside a small circle would have. It was as if someone had taken the best of humanity's past technology and turned it into a warship that could operate far beyond anything currently known. The implications were staggering. If this ship was human, then it had to have come from a hidden program, a secret branch of the military that no one had spoken about. The crew tried to imagine the scenario. A vessel of this size, built in secret, launched into space without anyone outside, a select few knowing, and now drifting silently in a remote sector. Why was it here? Why had it never contacted anyone? And most importantly, what was its mission? While the team wrestled with these questions, the station's sensors detected subtle energy flows coming from the ship. They were small but consistent, almost like the heartbeat of the vessel itself. These flows suggested that the ship was powered up, fully operational, and ready to act if necessary. Yet, despite all this power, it remained silent and passive. It was a warship, capable of great destruction, but it did not behave like one. Instead, it seemed almost patient. The patience of the vessel unnerved the crew. They had seen ships in distress, abandoned ships, ships that went rogue, but nothing like this. This warship had a purpose, and it was waiting for something, though no one could tell what. Every day that passed, the mystery grew deeper. The crew spent hours analyzing the patterns of its movement, but it was unpredictable in a way that felt deliberate. It drifted slowly, but maintained a precise orientation, as if scanning the area, or waiting for instructions from an unseen source. The commander called a meeting to discuss their findings. The room was tense. Each member of the team presented what they had discovered so far. Some focused on the ship's hull and weapon systems. Others described the thrusters and internal layouts. But the most striking point came from the chief engineer, who had analyzed the energy flows. "The ship is ready," he said slowly. "Everything is online. Systems, life support, maintenance routines. It hasn't been idle for long. Whoever designed this ship intended it to function perfectly without anyone touching it. And based on the readings, it has been doing exactly that." The team exchanged worried glances. They were not just observing a vessel. They were looking at a piece of advanced technology that could have been built to counter some unknown threat. And yet, no one on the station knew what that threat might be. Humanity had kept this project secret, hidden, and now it had emerged far from known human space. The situation was unprecedented, and the crew felt the weight of its significance. Hours turned into days as the observation station maintained its vigil. Every crew member became obsessed with the warship. They documented every detail, ran simulations, and tried to predict its behavior. Sleep became secondary, meals were brief, and conversations were dominated by the single topic of the mysterious vessel. The warship had taken over their lives without making a sound, without interacting, simply by existing. Then came the moment that made everyone stop. A small fluctuation in the ship's energy signature suggested an internal system had activated. The sensors could not determine exactly what, but it was clear that the ship was responding to something unseen. The crew held their breath. Could it be detecting their observation? Or was it following a pre-programmed sequence? The uncertainty made the tension almost unbearable. Communication attempts were renewed, this time using more sophisticated protocols. The team tried frequencies that were rarely used, hoping to elicit a response. Hours passed with no reaction. The warship remained silent. Still, the subtle energy fluctuations suggested it was aware of something in its environment. It was alive in its own way, fully functional, fully armed, and fully aware of the space around it. The science officer spoke quietly, almost to herself. "It's human, but it doesn't act like a human crew would. It's almost as if it has a mind of its own." The commander nodded, understanding the weight of her observation. They were not just dealing with a ship. They were dealing with a project that had been engineered to think and operate independently, to act in the way its creators intended, even without direct human control. As the observation station continued its work, the mystery of the warship became the center of every thought. The team speculated endlessly. Could it be a prototype from decades ago, finally activated? Was it a defensive measure, sent to protect something important? Or was it a test, an experiment in autonomous military technology that had drifted far beyond its intended path? Despite the unknowns, one thing was clear. Humanity had created something remarkable. The warship was not just a vessel. It was a testament to human ingenuity, creativity, and strategic thinking. It carried the legacy of generations of engineers and scientists, a combination of past knowledge and secret innovations, all condensed into a single, silent, waiting machine. Night fell over the observation station, and the crew took turns watching the monitors. The warship drifted silently in space, bathed in the faint glow of distant stars. It was massive, powerful, and undeniably human. The crew knew that whatever came next would change their understanding of humanity's place in the galaxy. As the hours passed, a strange calm settled over the station. The tension remained, but it was mixed with awe and curiosity. They were witnessing something no one had ever expected. A human warship, fully equipped, floating silently through space, holding secrets that might never be revealed. The crew stayed vigilant, knowing that they were part of a story that had been written decades ago, but was only now unfolding before their eyes. And so, the warship continued to drift, its presence a quiet but powerful reminder of the capabilities of humanity. The observation station, once quiet and routine, had become the center of a mystery that spanned decades and touched the edge of the known universe. No one could predict what the ship would do next, but one thing was certain. Humanity had created something extraordinary, and now the galaxy was about to take notice. The warship continued to drift silently, almost like a ghost in the darkness of space. Days had passed since it was first detected, and the observation station had become completely absorbed in monitoring it. Every crew member had a sense that this was no ordinary ship, but exactly what it was remained a puzzle. The fact that it had not responded to any communication attempts made the situation even stranger got at first. The crew assumed the ship might be damaged, perhaps abandoned or missing its crew. But the more they observed, the clearer it became that it was fully operational. Sensors detected life support systems running, energy output stable, and internal systems performing routine tasks. The warship was alive in its own way, a perfect machine waiting silently for a reason that no one yet understood. The observation station had tried all known forms of communication. Standard hails, coded messages, and even emergency frequencies were used, but nothing worked. The ship didn't acknowledge them, didn't respond, and didn't move to attack. It simply drifted as though observing the vast emptiness around it. The station crew began to realize that they were not dealing with a conventional human crew. They were dealing with a machine, controlled perhaps by a hidden intelligence, or following orders from a mission long forgotten. The situation became more complicated when small energy pulses were detected. They were subtle, almost like signals, but not directed at the station. Instead, it was as if the ship was scanning the surrounding space, measuring and analyzing everything around it. Every pulse, every fluctuation suggested a ship that was aware of its environment, ready to react if necessary, but choosing not to. This patience, this silent observation, created an almost eerie atmosphere on the station. The commander gathered the team for a briefing. "We are not just watching a ship," he said quietly. "We are observing something built to do something specific. It is not drifting by accident, and it is not here to harm us. But we do not know its purpose. Until we do, we need to be extremely careful." The science officer studied the ship's energy readings in detail. "It's human," she said, "but it doesn't behave like any human-operated ship we know. It seems almost autonomous. It is following its mission quietly, but it could respond instantly if necessary. This ship was designed to operate alone, without anyone guiding it directly." The crew realized that they were witnessing a form of military technology never seen before. Humanity had built something that could act independently, ready to carry out its mission even without direct supervision. But the big question remained: what was its mission? Was it meant to defend something, attack, or simply observe? The possibilities were endless, and the uncertainty weighed heavily on everyone as the observation continued. The warship moved slowly in a deliberate pattern. It wasn't random. It wasn't drifting aimlessly. The sensors showed a series of slight adjustments to its trajectory, maintaining an exact path that seemed calculated. The crew speculated endlessly about what it might be doing. Some thought it might be waiting for a signal, perhaps from Earth or another human-controlled station. Others feared it could be part of a larger plan, a mission that no one on the station was aware of. Attempts to predict its path became the primary focus of the team. They ran simulations, plotted possible courses, and even tried to anticipate what the ship would do next. Every time they thought they understood its movement, it would adjust in a way that defied expectations. The observation station's data streams were filled with graphs, maps, and charts, all showing a ship that was precise, calculated, and almost intelligent in its movements. Despite the tension, the crew began to notice patterns. The ship would slow slightly when approaching certain regions of space, as if avoiding obstacles or scanning areas of interest. It would adjust its orientation subtly, turning slightly without apparent reason, only to return to its previous course moments later. These small actions, while almost imperceptible, suggested a ship that was aware, analyzing, and cautious. The quiet persistence of the warship was unnerving. Unlike most vessels, it did not make noise, broadcast messages, or seek attention. It was as if it had been designed to exist unnoticed, even in plain sight. The crew could not help but feel a sense of respect for the machine. It was powerful, capable, and intelligent, yet it had not attacked, had not interfered, and had not drawn attention to itself. As the days passed, the observation station became consumed by the mystery. Crew members worked in shifts, analyzing every detail, documenting every movement, and running countless simulations. Sleep became secondary. Meals were taken quickly, often in front of the monitors. Conversations revolved entirely around the warship. It had become more than an object of curiosity. It was now a focus of obsession. The first signs of internal activity within the warship began to emerge. Small energy fluctuations suggested that certain systems had powered up, perhaps performing diagnostics or maintenance routines. These were subtle, almost like the ship was caring for itself. The observation team was fascinated. They had never seen a vessel behave in this way. It was almost as if the ship had been programmed to survive, adapt, and maintain readiness without human intervention. The chief engineer commented on the readings. "This is beyond what we thought humans could do," he said. "The ship is monitoring itself, maintaining all systems, and performing checks automatically. It's like a machine that knows exactly what it needs to do and does it perfectly. Whoever built this, they wanted it to function completely alone, and it's doing exactly that." The crew began to consider the implications. If the ship could operate independently, fully armed, and fully functional, then it was not just a prototype. It was a tool of extraordinary power. It could patrol, defend, and possibly engage in combat without human input. And yet, despite this capability, it remained passive, observing, waiting. Curiosity led to questions about its origin. How long had it been out here? Was it recently launched, or had it been drifting for decades? The energy readings suggested it had been active for some time, performing internal maintenance and monitoring the environment. It was not damaged. It was not abandoned. It was following a mission, and it was executing that mission flawlessly. Communication attempts continued. The station sent messages through multiple frequencies, languages, and coding systems. Still, there was no response. The warship remained silent. The crew began to suspect that perhaps it had been programmed not to respond until a certain signal or condition was met. Perhaps it was waiting for instructions from its creators, instructions that had never come. The commander reflected on the situation. "We are looking at something that was never meant to be discovered," he said. "It is human, it is powerful, and it is alone out here. But we do not know its purpose. We need to continue observing, continue learning, and hope that we can understand what it was built for before making any moves." The warship continued its drift, maintaining a pattern that suggested intelligence and purpose. The observation team remained vigilant, documenting every change, analyzing every pulse, and speculating endlessly about its mission. Every day brought new insights, small details that revealed just how advanced this ship truly was. The calm yet deliberate nature of the warship created a strange atmosphere on the station. The crew was constantly alert, yet they felt a sense of awe. They were witnessing a piece of human ingenuity unlike anything else in the galaxy. This was not just a ship. It was a legacy, a testament to what humans could create when pushed to the limits of engineering and imagination. Despite the uncertainty, the crew grew to respect the warship. It was silent, powerful, and precise, yet it had not attacked. It had not interfered. It was a machine of extraordinary capability, waiting patiently in the darkness. The observation station had never experienced anything like this, and everyone knew that whatever happened next could change. Their understanding of humanity's presence in space forever dot as night fell over the station. The warship drifted in silence, illuminated only by distant starlight. The observation team continued to monitor it, recording every detail, running simulations, and trying to anticipate its next move. They were no longer just observers. They had become witnesses to a human creation that had escaped notice, traveling silently through the void, carrying secrets that might never be fully revealed. The mystery of the warship was far from solved. It remained silent, powerful, and waiting. But the observation team knew that its presence was a reminder of human capability, a symbol of ingenuity, patience, and precision. It was a human creation, fully equipped, fully functional, and quietly executing a mission known only to its creators. And so, the warship drifted on, silent but commanding, a powerful testament to humanity's hidden achievements, while the observation station remained vigilant, knowing that every moment brought them closer to understanding a secret that had been hidden for decades. The decision to board the warship was not made lightly. The observation station had watched it for days, documenting its every movement, analyzing its energy flows, and speculating endlessly about its origin and purpose. The crew knew that approaching a fully equipped, autonomous human warship was risky. There was no way to know whether it would react defensively or remain passive. But curiosity and the need for answers outweighed fear. A small team was prepared, fully trained, and ready to enter the unknown dot. The shuttle detached from the observation station, its engines barely making a sound as it approached the massive warship. From a distance, the ship looked even more imposing. Its angular hull gleamed faintly under the distant starlight, and the subtle hum of active systems could almost be felt, even from outside. The crew of the shuttle was tense, their hands gripping the controls, eyes scanning the ship for any signs of movement or threat dot as they drew closer. The first detail they noticed was the sheer precision of the ship's construction. There were no dents, no signs of wear, and no visible damage. Every surface was perfectly aligned, every panel in place. Even the smallest maintenance hatches seemed designed with care, following a pattern of efficiency and order that was unmistakably human. The ship looked as though it had been waiting for someone to come, ready to welcome or challenge them. Depending on its programming dot, the shuttle docked carefully with the warship. The airlock opened with a quiet hiss, revealing a corridor that was surprisingly clean and organized. The boarding team stepped inside, immediately noticing the hum of active systems and the subtle glow of energy conduits running along the walls. There was no sign of chaos or damage. It was as if the ship had been designed to function perfectly, indefinitely, without human oversight. The first impression was one of order and precision. Every corridor, every room seemed to have a purpose. Control panels were neatly arranged, maintenance tools were in their designated places, and automated systems moved silently along predetermined paths, performing their tasks without pause. The ship was alive in a mechanical sense, its systems working in harmony, each part knowing exactly what to do. The team explored cautiously, taking readings and documenting everything. They found living quarters, though empty, arranged for maximum efficiency and comfort. They found storage areas stocked with supplies, equipment, and weaponry. Every detail reflected careful planning and foresight. Whoever had built this ship had thought of everything, anticipating every need, every possibility. The deeper they went, the more remarkable the ship became. Engineering bays were filled with advanced machinery, automated repair drones, moving silently to keep the systems operational. The power core pulsed steadily, providing energy to every corner of the vessel. The team could feel the sheer strength of the ship, the power it held, and the precision with which it operated. It was not just a warship. It was a masterpiece of human engineering. As they reached the control deck, the team made a discovery that left them speechless. The consoles, displays, and controls were fully functional. Every system could be monitored and manipulated from this central hub. The ship could be piloted, its weapons deployed, its shields activated, all from this deck. But there were no signs of recent human activity. The ship had been operating on its own, maintaining readiness without any crew present. The team realized that the warship was not abandoned. It was simply operating according to a mission or directive that no one on the station could understand. Every system, every function, was active and ready. The ship had not drifted into this sector by accident. It had followed its orders perfectly, even in the absence of any human crew. The science officer approached one of the control panels and began analyzing the data streams. She discovered logs and system reports that detailed maintenance, power usage, and operational protocols. The ship had been performing these tasks autonomously for an unknown period of time, keeping itself fully operational and ready for action. The level of sophistication was unlike anything they had ever seen. The team moved through the corridors, exploring each section carefully. They found medical facilities, storage areas for supplies, and rooms that seemed designed for rest and strategy planning. Every aspect of the ship was human-centric, designed for maximum efficiency and survivability. Yet, despite all this, the ship remained silent and unresponsive. It had no need for interaction. It was complete in itself, a self-sufficient machine capable of operating independently. One of the engineers noticed the weapon systems. Although inactive, they were fully functional and ready for deployment. The ship was armed with advanced weaponry, precise and powerful, capable of defending itself against almost any threat. Yet, the weapons had not been used. The ship's design suggested that force was a last resort, something to be deployed only when necessary. It was a warship built for defense, strategy, and precision, not aggression. As the team continued their exploration, they discovered the core of the ship's intelligence. Hidden deep within the command deck were servers and processors that monitored every system. The warship had its own logic, capable of making decisions based on real-time data. It could assess threats, allocate resources, and perform complex operations independently. The level of autonomy was unprecedented. It was not just a vessel. It was a thinking, adaptive machine. Despite the advanced technology, the human influence was unmistakable. The ship's design, controls, and systems all reflected human needs and logic. It was built to support a crew, even though none was present, and to operate in ways that aligned with human understanding of strategy and efficiency. The ship was a reflection of human ingenuity, a combination of creativity, intelligence, and foresight. The boarding team could not help but feel a sense of awe. They had entered a vessel that had been designed for perfection, capable of operating independently, yet fully human in its purpose and logic. It was more than just a ship. It was a testament to what humanity could achieve when driven by necessity, intelligence, and vision. They explored the ship for hours, documenting every detail. Every room, every system, every panel told a story of planning, preparation, and capability. The ship had been designed to survive, to defend, and to operate flawlessly, even without a crew. It was a vessel built to endure the unknown, and it had done exactly that. As they reached the far end of the control deck, the team discovered encrypted files. These contained logs, mission protocols, and data that hinted at the ship's purpose. Although much of the information was locked, it was clear that the warship had been sent on a mission, one that required secrecy, precision, and autonomy. The ship had followed its orders perfectly, drifting through space silently, maintaining readiness and waiting for the right moment to act. The realization settled over the team like a weight. This ship was not lost. It was not abandoned. It had been waiting, performing its mission exactly as intended, and it had done so without human intervention. The warship was a machine of incredible capability, built to endure, adapt, and survive, carrying out a mission that only its creators fully understood. The boarding team slowly made their way back to the shuttle. They carried with them the knowledge of what they had discovered, a deep understanding of the ship's power, precision, and autonomy. They knew that the warship was extraordinary, a piece of human achievement that had escaped notice, operating in silence, and ready to fulfill its mission when the time came. As they left the ship, the team reflected on what they had seen. The warship was not just a machine. It was a reminder of human ingenuity, a testament to planning, foresight, and capability. It had operated perfectly, silently, and patiently, waiting for the right moment. And now, after all this time, it had been discovered. Back on the observation station, the team shared their findings with the commander. Every detail was documented, every system analyzed. The warship had been confirmed as human, fully operational, and autonomous. It was a vessel unlike any other, a machine capable of independent thought, yet entirely human in purpose and design. The mystery of the warship deepened. It was fully equipped, fully functional, and completely silent. Its mission remained unclear, but one thing was certain. It had been designed to operate perfectly, without error, and without direct human oversight. The boarding team knew they had witnessed something extraordinary, a human creation of unprecedented capability. And as the warship continued to drift silently in space, waiting patiently, the observation station knew that they had only begun to understand its purpose. The secrets it carried, the mission it followed, and the intelligence it contained were far from fully revealed. Humanity had created something remarkable, and now the galaxy was slowly learning that its reach, its power, and its ingenuity were far greater than anyone had imagined. Back on the observation station, the team had barely had time to process what they had seen inside the warship when a new realization began to take shape. The ship was not just a machine drifting aimlessly. It had a mission, one that had been carefully programmed and meticulously followed. The encrypted files discovered on the control deck hinted at its purpose, but the information was incomplete. The team worked tirelessly, attempting to unlock more of the data, hoping to understand why this incredible vessel had been sent into the depths of space and why it had remained silent for so long. As they sifted through the files, patterns began to emerge. The warship had been designed as part of a secret human initiative, a contingency plan created decades ago when threats beyond known human space were becoming a concern. At the time, humanity had feared that distant systems could be vulnerable, that unknown powers might emerge, and that Earth itself could be at risk. The ship was a response to that fear, a silent guardian, capable of operating alone, prepared for situations humans might never anticipate. The logs suggested that the ship had been launched with a strict set of instructions. Its mission was to patrol, monitor, and, if necessary, intervene in areas where human presence could not safely reach. The plan was clear. The warship would act independently, maintaining secrecy, and it would only reveal itself if its mission demanded it. The ship's autonomy was unprecedented, allowing it to make decisions based on the data it collected without requiring direct human input. The team was fascinated. They had not just discovered a warship, they had discovered a piece of humanity's strategic thinking, a project built in secrecy and executed flawlessly for decades. Every system, every protocol, every automated response had been designed to maintain readiness. The warship was a machine, yes, but it was also a reflection of human foresight, intelligence, and adaptability. As the engineers continued to analyze the ship's data, they realized something remarkable. The warship had been waiting. It had been in position for years, scanning its surroundings, monitoring potential threats, and maintaining operational readiness without deviation from its orders. Its silence, which had seemed strange or even ominous, was actually part of its mission. The ship was meant to remain undetected until its intervention was required. The commander gathered the team to share these insights. "We are not dealing with a simple vessel," he said. "This ship was designed to act alone, to survive and to protect. Its creators intended it to be independent, and it has followed those orders to the letter. That is why it has not communicated, why it has remained silent, and why it has not engaged in any activity we would recognize as normal." Despite this growing understanding, questions remained. The ship had been sent on a mission, but what was that mission? The logs hinted at threats beyond human space, unnamed enemies or dangers that were never made public. The files contained technical language, coordinates, and operational parameters that were difficult to interpret without context. Yet one thing was clear. The ship had been prepared to confront challenges far beyond the capabilities of any ordinary human crew. The science officer leaned over the terminal, pointing to a set of coordinates and operational protocols. "Look at this," she said. "These are locations outside known human territory. It looks like the ship was monitoring potential threats, maybe even unknown civilizations or dangerous phenomena. And it's all automated. The ship was trusted to respond intelligently without instructions." The weight of the realization hit the team. Humanity had created a vessel capable of making decisions in isolation, a machine armed with advanced weaponry, shields, and defenses, capable of acting strategically without oversight. It was a guardian, a silent sentinel sent to patrol areas humans could not safely reach, tasked with protecting something important. But the ship's mission had remained incomplete. For reasons no one could yet determine, it had never received the final orders that would have activated it fully. The team began to consider the implications. If the warship had been discovered now, after decades of solitude, what would happen next? Was it waiting for a signal that would never come? Could it be reactivated or redirected? And most importantly, what would happen if its mission was triggered accidentally or misunderstood? The warship was powerful, precise, and fully functional. A misstep could have consequences beyond anything the team had imagined. They also realized that the ship's autonomy was far beyond anything known in current human fleets. It had maintained systems, monitored its surroundings, and executed operational protocols flawlessly, all without intervention. It had survived in deep space, far from any human settlement or support, performing a mission that had required intelligence, strategy, and decision-making. In many ways, it had become a guardian of humanity's interests, acting in silence, invisible yet ready. The encrypted files contained hints of further secrets. They described contingencies, alternative scenarios, and protocols for unexpected events. The ship had been built not only to patrol and monitor, but also to respond intelligently to a wide variety of situations. It could detect potential threats, analyze data, and take action appropriate to the level of danger. It was a machine designed to think like a human strategist, but act faster and with absolute precision. The commander realized that the ship's designers had trusted it completely. They had built a warship that could operate without error, without emotion, and without hesitation. It was a testament to human ingenuity, foresight, and the ability to plan for situations far beyond immediate control. The ship had been given autonomy not as a convenience, but as a necessity, allowing it to perform its mission in isolation for as long as needed. Despite the brilliance of the design, the team felt the weight of the mystery. Why had the ship not completed its mission? Why had it remained in this region of space, silent and waiting, for so long? And most importantly, what would happen now that it had been discovered? The warship had been built to be self-sufficient, but humans had finally arrived to observe it directly. Would it respond? Would it recognize authority? Or would it continue its mission independently, as it had for decades? The crew spent days examining the ship's systems remotely, trying to understand its behavior. They ran simulations, projected potential scenarios, and debated what actions could safely be taken. The ship was fully armed, capable of deploying devastating force, and yet it had remained passive. Its mission, while complex and secret, had been executed with precision. The team realized that it was not just a warship. They were observing a machine that had been trusted with immense responsibility. As more of the encrypted data was decrypted, the story became clearer. The warship had been launched during a period of rising tensions, when humanity had feared unknown threats in distant sectors. It had been a precaution, a way to ensure that human interests were protected even in the absence of a direct human presence. The vessel had been designed to operate independently, to maintain readiness, and to act when necessary. Its autonomy was essential to the mission, allowing it to patrol regions too dangerous or distant for regular fleets. The team felt a mixture of awe and respect. They were witnessing human ingenuity at its peak, a creation that had survived the isolation of deep space, maintained itself, and followed a mission perfectly, even without human guidance. It was a reminder of the potential of humanity, of the foresight, intelligence, and skill that could produce something extraordinary. But there was also a sense of urgency. The ship's mission had never been completed, and its discovery raised questions about what might happen next. Could it still be activated, redirected, or triggered? And if so, what consequences might follow? The warship was not just a machine. It was a guardian, a sentinel, and a weapon. Understanding it fully was critical to ensuring that its power was used wisely, or at least safely. As the observation team worked late into the cycle, they felt the magnitude of what they had uncovered. Humanity had created a vessel of unparalleled capability, a warship designed to patrol, protect, and respond independently. Its mission had remained incomplete, hidden from the rest of the galaxy, and now it had been discovered. The team knew that the next steps would be critical, not just for understanding the ship, but for understanding the secrets of humanity's hidden projects. The warship continued to drift silently in space, its systems fully operational, its mission waiting to be completed. The observation station remained vigilant, analyzing every signal, monitoring every energy fluctuation, and trying to understand the full scope of what had been uncovered. The team knew that humanity's ingenuity had created something extraordinary, and they were witnessing the awakening of a mission that had remained hidden for decades. And as the hours passed, a realization settled over the team. The warship was not just a vessel. It was a testament to human planning, intelligence, and foresight. It had been built to survive, to act independently, and to protect human interests far from known space. And now, after all this time, its purpose was slowly beginning to reveal itself. The galaxy had never seen anything like it, and the observation team knew that what they had discovered would change everything. The observation team had spent weeks analyzing the warship, documenting every system, every energy pulse, and every movement. They had explored its corridors remotely, understood its operational capabilities, and uncovered clues about its mission. Yet, despite all their discoveries, the ship remained silent, waiting, and fully operational. It had followed orders perfectly, acting independently for decades. Now, the time had come to take decisive action. The decision was not easy. Sending a team to directly interface with the ship was risky. They did not know how it would respond to human presence, or whether it would interpret the approach as a threat. But the knowledge they had gathered gave them confidence. They understood its systems, its energy patterns, and its level of autonomy. With careful planning, they believed they could access its control deck and safely attempt to guide it toward completing its mission, or at least prevent any unintended consequences. A small boarding shuttle detached from the observation station, moving slowly toward the warship. From a distance, the ship appeared massive, imposing, and perfect. Its angular hull reflected starlight like a silent sentinel, a human creation that had survived in isolation, waiting patiently for its purpose to be revealed. The shuttle approached. Cautiously, sensors tracking every detail and transmitting information back to the station in real time. The shuttle docked, and the team entered the warship once more. Inside, a familiar hum of active systems greeted them. The corridors were as pristine and precise as they had seen before. Automated maintenance drones continued their work, performing repairs and adjustments without pause. The ship had remained fully operational, its mission uncompleted but ready for activation. The team moved carefully toward the control deck. Every step was measured, every corridor scanned. They understood that the warship was capable of defending itself, yet it had remained passive all this time. That silence was not negligence, it was intention. The ship was built to wait, to act only when its mission required it. And now the moment for action was at hand. At the control deck, the team accessed the primary interface. The panels glowed, faintly under their hands, showing streams of data, operational logs, and encrypted directives. For a moment, they simply observed, realizing the scale of what they were seeing. This warship had been entrusted with immense responsibility, capable of independent thought, decision-making, and action, all designed to protect humanity's interests beyond known space. The commander of the boarding team spoke calmly. "We are not here to override the ship," he said. "We are here to ensure that its mission is completed safely and that its power is controlled. This vessel has been operating for decades without error. We must respect its autonomy while guiding it where it needs to go." The engineers began interfacing with the encrypted protocols, carefully decrypting and cross-referencing the ship's mission directives. Slowly, a picture began to emerge. The warship had been launched during a time of heightened uncertainty. Humanity had feared distant threats, unknown dangers, and potential conflicts far from human-controlled regions. The ship's mission had been to patrol, protect, and if necessary, engage any threat to human interests. Its autonomy was essential because the distances involved made real time. Human control impossible. As the data decrypted further, the team discovered the final activation protocols. The ship had never received the signal to fully engage its mission. It had drifted silently, maintaining readiness, but it had never acted on its final orders. Now, with the team interfacing directly, the warship could finally complete its intended purpose. The process was delicate. The ship's systems were sophisticated, responsive, and precise. Any misstep could trigger defensive responses or unintended consequences. The team worked together, coordinating each step, monitoring every system, and adjusting commands carefully. Slowly, the warship began to acknowledge their presence, its systems aligning with the newly input directives. The energy pulses became more structured, the internal diagnostics confirmed readiness, and the ship prepared itself for action. The realization struck the team. They were not merely interacting with a machine, they were awakening a human creation that had existed in isolation for decades, a warship that had survived alone, maintained itself flawlessly, and awaited a moment it was built to fulfill. Humanity's ingenuity, foresight, and strategic thinking were embodied in this vessel, now responding to its creators for the first time in decades. As the warship powered up fully, its sensors scanned the surrounding space with renewed precision. It assessed potential threats, mapped the region, and calculated optimal patrol routes. Every calculation was precise, every movement deliberate. The ship was no longer dormant. It was alive in its intended capacity, ready to fulfill its mission with unparalleled efficiency. The observation station monitored the progress, awed by the warship's capabilities. It was more than a vessel. It was a sentinel, a guardian, and a weapon of extraordinary power, designed to protect humanity's interests far beyond known space. The team realized that for decades, humanity had sent a silent protector into the void, a creation of immense skill and intelligence, patiently awaiting the day it would be needed. The ship's activation created a subtle but profound shift. Its thrusters adjusted, energy signatures stabilized, and defensive systems came online in preparation for any potential threats. Yet, despite its readiness for combat, the warship remained under control, its actions deliberate and precise. It was a testament to the foresight of its creators that such a powerful vessel could act responsibly and intelligently, even in isolation, the boarding team observed as the warship began to follow a carefully calculated trajectory. Its mission was now clear: to patrol distant sectors, monitor potential threats, and ensure the safety of human interests. Every movement, every decision, was guided by decades-old directives and enhanced by the autonomous intelligence embedded within its systems. The warship was executing its purpose exactly as intended, a silent guardian now awakened. As the days passed, the team remained aboard, ensuring the warship operated smoothly. They observed its patrol routines, monitored its sensors, and confirmed that it was fulfilling its mission without error. The ship's autonomy was remarkable. It responded to new data, adjusted its course as needed, and maintained complete operational readiness, all without further human intervention. The realization grew among the team. Humanity had created something extraordinary. This warship was more than a machine. It was a culmination of decades of engineering, strategic thinking, and foresight. It had survived isolation, maintained itself flawlessly, and now, decades after its launch, it had finally begun its mission. It was a testament to what humans could achieve when driven by intelligence, necessity, and vision. The observation station documented every detail, every movement, every calculation. They had witnessed the activation of a silent guardian, a vessel that had waited patiently for its moment. Humanity's secret creation was now operational, fulfilling the mission for which it had been built. The warship moved with precision, power, and purpose, a reflection of human ingenuity and the foresight of its creators. For the crew, the experience was transformative. They had not just discovered a ship, they had discovered a piece of human history, a testament to strategy, intelligence, and capability. The warship had been a silent sentinel for decades, and now it was fully awake, fully operational, and fulfilling its purpose. Its presence would be a reminder of human ingenuity, a symbol of the ability to create something extraordinary, even in secrecy. As the final hours of Part 6 unfolded, the observation team watched the warship move further into space, following its mission with unparalleled efficiency. The ship's hum resonated through the station, a quiet reminder of its presence and power. Humanity had created a vessel capable of independent thought, precise action, and long-term vigilance. And now, after decades of waiting, it had finally been activated, ready to fulfill the mission it had been built to accomplish. The team knew that the warship's journey was just beginning. It would patrol distant sectors, monitor unknown regions, and act as a guardian for humanity. Its autonomy, precision, and power were unmatched. And for the observation station crew, witnessing the activation and first operations of this incredible vessel was a moment they would never forget. In the vast darkness of space, the warship drifted onward, fully awake, fully equipped, and fully human in purpose. Its mission was clear, its systems flawless, and its legacy undeniable. Humanity had created something extraordinary, a silent sentinel that had waited decades for the right moment. And now, as it moved with precision and power, the galaxy would come to understand that even in secrecy, human ingenuity could produce marvels capable of changing the course of history.